Hey guys, want to give a heads up before we start this episode. This is our new weekly breakdown / review of the Halo TV series. So we will be spoiling heavily. So if you have not started Halo, I would recommend turning this off immediately. We're doing episode 1 right now, but this will be at the beginning of every episode. So obviously, as the episodes go on, just pay attention to which episode it is. And if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend turning this off because we'll be breaking down each episode and reviewing it and also speaking about the Halo games. So if you are wanting to play the Halo stories or the Halo campaign and care about the stories, I'd recommend not watching or listening to these either. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode here. Welcome to Current Backloggers. I am your host, KCP, along with my good friend and co-host, Aaron C. We're here for another episode review of the Halo TV series. I almost said show and then series, mixed it together. This one is episode 8, coming close to the end here. Allegiance.
Yep, Allegiance.
And
we're almost at the end.
Yeah. Sad, but exciting. You have anything you want to talk about before we get in this episode from episodes before?
I feel like I did, but I didn't write it down, and now it's completely blanking.
I've been there. Luckily for me, I feel like there's nothing I'm missing, but we'll see. Maybe we'll do next week's episode. And I'm like, oh shit.
Should have said that. Darn it. Just because of this show, I have been reading Halo books, and I'm reading Fall of Reach right now.
Okay.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like Captain Keyes is even really different in it, so if you guys want to dive more into Halo, suggest reading that book.
Oh, yeah. I've only, like I said, I own a lot of books, but actually physically reading, I read a page and then I go over it and I'm on like next 3 pages. And I'm like, shit, I don't even remember what I just read. And I reread it and I'm like, this is so much time to read 3 pages. So I actually have a lot of Halo books physically, but I started doing audiobooks that I talked about in here. And I've only listened to the first 2, but I plan on listening more. I like both those, and I've heard they stay consistently good and some get better. So.
Even audiobooks. I have an app called Libby, and if you have a library card, you can link that up and get audiobooks. So yeah, if you just want more Master Chief and Captain Keyes and Halsey and all those great characters, they're really different in the books compared to this. So if you just want like a alternate take, definitely suggest it. So yeah, that's all.
I guess I do have one thing. It's not technically from the episodes before, so that's why I almost missed it. But a couple people asked why we had to stop recording last episodes. Well, actually, they said episode 6. I don't know if anybody noticed that episode 7 we did the same thing.
Wasn't last week episode 7?
Or well, I guess we did 5 and 6
5
together,
and 6,
right?
5 and 6,
nobody did. People knows 5, but not 6 is what it was. But during episode 5, I've got, out of nowhere, I got real sweaty. Couldn't tell because our camera's far away. But real sweaty, and then I went upstairs and just started throwing up. And then did the same thing in episode 6, but went upstairs and couldn't get it to happen. So I just thought since a couple people asked, I would be honest what happened. Hope I'm not jinxing it. I'm like, uh-oh.
Like, not again.
Yeah,
but
after that day, there was nothing, so I think it's just a
Casey is so devoted to the podcast that he kept going. So, just a shout out.
I appreciate it because, I was literally, you were in the middle of talking, and I just started sweating. I was like, oh shit, what's happening? And I was like, oh no, I'm trying to listen. I was like, I need to find a stopping point to get up there. I was like, oh god. And I was half second later, it would have been everywhere else. So, it would have been quite the scene just going.
Yeah, we would have stopped recording if that happened.
Oh man. But as always, if you guys could comment, like, share, subscribe this video, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and even on Spotify, if you want to give a review, Apple Podcasts, if we're on that.
We are.
But
all the major services.
All the major, just give a review, 5 haws, if you will, or whatever rating system you want to make.
All right, should we get in the episode here?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, the first thing I had was we see John standing in front of a mirror.
He's got a towel.
Yeah, just a towel. And he's just staring into this mirror. And then it shows him and the Blessed One on Halo again.
Yep.
And then he awkwardly and terribly draws what is supposed to be a halo, but I don't think he's ever drew a circle in his life.
Yep, he's just drawing it on the mirror. It's just like, oh, the ring.
Yeah, but it's more like the ring.
Yeah, it's very poorly. I'm just like, okay. He's definitely just thinking about the Blessed One during this, too.
Yeah, that's actually funny you say that, because next he starts touching her face in the Halo world. And then she seems to feel him in real life. It cuts to her.
Yeah, and so, in episode 6,
mm-hmm.
Yes, episode 6, we definitely saw her just whip out her energy knife. And there were people in the room, and they completely ignored that, because she's just in the same room chilling.
That's the next note I had. Look at that. That's we're lined up here. Yeah, I remember during episode 6 when we were talking about it, I was like, if they don't address this, they're totally just skipping over it, and like the worst military in the world, which should be the strongest military in the entire universe.
Right.
And because, like I said, even if you want to say like that person, they got away with her or whatever, they definitely, you would imagine, have cameras and like top tier security. But yeah, they just either didn't see or they're like, we'll trust you won't do it again.
Yeah, you're fine. You didn't just have a Covenant weapon come out of your hand that we probably haven't seen before.
Uh-huh.
It's all good. Master Chief likes you, so cool. Put a stamp on that.
No, I'm glad you noticed it too, because that was a note I had. And like I said, I know I mentioned that in episode 6, but then in episode 7, they didn't really show her. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, because that'd be weird to point it out in that episode. But this one definitely should have addressed that in some way.
They really should have. I think maybe they're like, oh, we'll distract them with Quan, and then we'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, we were thinking about the Blessed One all last episode, and you just, that was a little bit of a flop.
Yeah, either that they think they can distract people, or I think probably more like we talked about in this episode, or this series, seems to be a lack of care or attention to certain areas. So I feel like maybe there's like, oh, that was cool, and then we'll just jump to the next thing. I don't even know if they processed that didn't make sense and that people would catch that.
Yeah, it's just small detail things that when you love a show or, just love good quality stuff, that you notice it immediately. Because maybe some people it doesn't bother them, but I feel like that's a pretty big thing if she's just whipping out a weapon. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I know a lot of our complaints, especially mine, are because I like the show so much, so I notice things that probably a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Not because I'm better, but just because, like you said, I'm way more into it, so a lot of people just enjoy it and don't think about these little things that majority of people aren't going to catch. But this, I feel like, is like actually like continuity issue and doesn't make sense in storytelling, aside from Halo or games or anything. I feel like it just doesn't make sense. And a lot of movies and shows have little things that don't connect, or sometimes big things, but I feel like usually call out the big things. I feel like it's definitely one of them that doesn't add up.
Yeah, because if I was a guard and I saw her whip that out, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah.
I'm calling my superior, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she was ready to attack us, and then she just had her little seizure, but that doesn't, like, just because she had the seizure doesn't mean she still wasn't trying to attack you. So it's a bit of a problem, because, like, did these guards just, did they quit? Like, were they like, oh, shoot, she's got a weapon, we're done, we quit.
I might if I saw that, but yeah, that's still not a valid excuse.
Yeah.
And then John comes into her room.
Oh, yeah, he does.
In a different black suit this time. And,
is it different?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I noticed it mostly because, I noticed it right away, if I'm being honest, because like I said, the other black suit looks so much like Mass Effect.
Okay.
But then, even if I didn't, near the end of the episode, he switched into his Mass Effect outfit. So you can tell the differences then.
Gonna have to rewatch that because I was just like, oh, he's back in the suit. I didn't really notice that it was different.
Yeah.
They look similar.
Oh, they definitely do. And then he throws, let me know if you have anything to add in between. He throws the blessed one a jacket as well, unfortunately, to cover up more.
Yeah, he brings her a whole set of clothes.
Yeah. And then they go walking down this corridor with like a bunch of Marines, and they head to something called the portal. And I don't know if you noticed the camera angle, it really emphasized the portal. But I feel like that's...
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional or, again, poor directing or filmmaking, because they made a big deal about this portal in the episode before, and I don't think this was in connection to that portal.
Yeah, it was just a portal. I didn't even notice the portal at all in that scene.
I only did because the camera seemed way too odd the way it was angled, and it said portal right above them. And I was like, why would you, if it's not that portal, why would you do that?
Yeah, I didn't notice that. But yeah, that's kind of, it's a little weird.
Yeah. Anything else before we get to the intro?
Yeah, it was just the intro.
All right. And I didn't put us jumping back and forth like we usually do, because I feel like
it's mostly on Reach. I
that's
think
what I was gonna say.
The whole episode, and I mean, there's like the little shots of Halo.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
planet, but
a few cutaways, but I feel like it makes sense to just talk about the story instead of
it just jumps between characters. That's basically how I jumped it, was character to character.
So I had the first thing as Halsey tells Aiden about why she picked Master Chief, and then he responds that the Blessed One is just like him, meaning the Master Chief. And Halsey asks Cortana if the Master Chief trusts the Blessed One, and she says she doesn't think he trusts anybody right now.
Yeah. And I also had Aiden, they were talking about John in general too, and his health is back to normal from, that episode when he was definitely not okay and was just ignoring it. So he's back to normal. I think the Blessed One might have given him some blessings. And she does in this episode.
That she does. So then, after they said that she thinks that he can't trust anybody, Aiden says they can't do it without John. And Halsey responds that she thinks he's discovering what I've always suspected, that he's connected to something beyond all of us. And I was like, that sounds real corny. And
it sounded really corny.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know what the hell what that means, and I don't know if I like that, but it was said.
Yeah, she said it. And some of so I feel like the actress that plays Halsey is actually really good.
Yeah.
And same with Captain Keyes. Is he Captain yet? Is he Captain Keyes?
Yeah, they call him that, yeah.
Okay. Just because
just so in my head that, like, ingrained in my mind, and I just always said that, but...
Yeah, because I was just wondering, because in Fall of Reach, which I just read this chapter, like, last night, they go over how he gets promoted.
Yeah.
And it was through military actions, which I wish we could see that, because it'd be really cool. And it was a space battle. Just saying. So they exist in Halo. We just haven't got one yet.
Oh, yeah, there's a really cool one in Halo Reach. There's a few of them, but there's like a full one, like you're talking about, like TIE fighting and everything.
Oh, man. I'm actually playing through Halo Reach right now, so...
Yeah, you'll get to it. You'll like it.
Excited for that.
Then it cuts to the Blessed One and John walking together, and...
This is the good old scene.
Yeah, that we mentioned last week from the
after show.
And she tells John how this place reminds her of a book she used to read. And then we start getting flashbacks of, I think it was episode 3, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's episode 3. Where in the beginning she was with that kid.
Yeah.
And he dies.
Yeah, and she's reading the book and getting some flashbacks there. And then next thing I had, it was kind of cuts away to Parangoski.
Yeah, I just had, during her flashbacks, it definitely specifically focuses on her kissing the child.
Mm-hmm.
Her childhood friend. So they're hinting at stuff, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stuff that I don't know how I feel about, which I'll get into later. But yes, Parangoski, she's watching Master Chief with Captain Keyes. They're just stalking him. Got the See, they have cameras. So they had to see the knife thing, but we can ignore that. But they have cameras everywhere because they're watching Master Chief.
Hey, the show ignored it too. You had Parangoski tells Captain Keyes how she's worried that the Master Chief knows that they were all in on the kidnapping or the abducting, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And Keyes insists that he does not know and he has no clue what's going on.
And Parangoski is kind of disgusted by how Chief is acting. She's like, "This isn't the Master Chief I know." And I think that was a message to us Halo fans. Like, yeah, this is not the Master Chief we know.
Yeah. For better or worse, usually worse, I think. But
yeah.
So then it continues on with the scene we saw from the sneak peek of John the Blessed One, the real cringy scene I mentioned last
really
week.
Great. There's these nice trees, pink flowers. They're talking about how they see each other in their visions. Have some really cringy interactions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wrote down some dialogue, but I did not.
Not on that. It was too bad for me, and I feel like I saw it 3 times because I showed you, and I just felt like I was in infinite loop watching that shit.
Yeah. But it's just really... It's a bad scene. I didn't want to call it bad, but I think it's a pretty bad scene.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so.
And it just seems like a big drama between the two, and they're just like, "Oh, yeah, I saw you too," and all excited about it, and it's just really weird. And Master Chief asked the Blessed One, it's like, why do the Covenant want the weapon so much? And then the Blessed One actually talks about the Great Journey, which is a big thing in the games. And I think he asked what would happen if the ring went off.
Yeah, that's the next thing I had.
But I don't know. I think he gets interrupted by 2 soldiers before, or
that's
maybe
after. Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
says how it'll kill everyone except those who will be cleansed.
Yeah.
And that's when the Marines, like you said, interrupt him and tell John to have an issue on oh shit, where I had it in here. What's the planet? I know it too.
Which
that gets glassed.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Crap. I don't think I put the planet name down. I put how many people died though.
Yeah, I have that. I know it starts with a C, but I'm totally blanking now. Guess we'll have to fill that in next week.
Yeah, but did you notice, before we go into the glassing part, that a dog barks at the Blessed One?
Oh yeah, I have that next.
And she draws that little energy nail.
Yeah.
And I was like, if she kills a dog with that thing, I'm going to flip.
Yeah, I thought she actually might do it, but then obviously they would just know right away, so I should have known they wouldn't do it because then everybody would be on to her by then, which they already should be, but...
She's casually drawing this thing, though.
Yeah.
And apparently no one's noticing.
Trying to see if I could... man. I know I had that planet. I don't know why it got deleted. But yeah, the finger thing happens, and then we see the planet that I don't remember. And it's like news, like...
Yeah, it's like a
surveillance
broadcast.
footage. Yeah.
Basically saying that the Covenant destroyed that planet, and there's like 11 million people that were killed. And they mentioned glassing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I put the definition of it.
I'll go for it.
It's also known as plasma bombardment. But the Covenant, basically, they orbit the planet with a bunch of their ships, and they use heavy plasma weaponry, and it basically destroys the ecosystem on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, just
All
wrecks
life
it.
form.
All life is dead. It's pretty crazy, and it's not something to play with.
Yeah. Criterion is the planet, by the way. I knew
cool.
that. Yeah. And then...
It's kind of like nuking.
Yeah.
But, like, way worse. It's a whole planet getting nuked.
Yeah.
And just everything dying. There's a really big definition if you actually look it up on the internet. There's a whole, like, article about it that you can read if anyone wants to know more about it. But
yeah.
the Covenant do this a lot. and they glass a lot of planets.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know there's a later book, well, like a more recent book, but later into where I'm at, that is all about. I don't know about this. They might be pulling straight from this, and it might be a book, but if not, I know it's a very similar thing where it's actually called the Cole Protocol, which they mentioned in this episode, and that's the reason why I might think it's a book. Which Cole Protocol is the UNSC does everything they can to prevent the Covenant from finding Earth's location.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe in the Cole Protocol book, that's where all this comes from. Maybe they're literally just pulling straight from that. But,
that'd be cool. Yeah,
that's where the Cole Protocol comes in. That's where they say they need to initiate so the Covenant can't find Earth.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they glass planets that basically they don't care about. If a planet has like Forerunner technology and stuff, they land first.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Otherwise, they're just full on destruction.
Yeah.
So you can tell when the Covenant are acting weird if they're not destroying a planet, basically. So I thought that was cool.
Oh, no, for sure.
And, like, I liked this because it's the first time we actually see the Covenant wrecking stuff because their technology is so far above the UNSC.
Yeah, it's something I mentioned a few episodes ago. Like, what I don't understand in this universe, like this storytelling Halo universe, I mean, what the Covenant are. If they're a threat to everything, if they're on certain planets, if the humans aren't worried about them. And I still don't really know, but I guess maybe in this universe they're telling, it's just a totally different timeline because the Covenant are known and they're around.
Yeah.
But they obviously don't know where Earth is if they are issuing the Cole Protocol, because that means they haven't found Earth.
Right.
And like you said, this is the first we've seen of them taking out a planet. So.
Yeah. Because the glassing thing is serious. Like, you're talking about millions of life forms getting destroyed, but then it's also, like, completely destroying that planet.
Mm-hmm.
So they do this a lot. And, like, humanity is spread around the galaxy or universe at this point, and there's colonies of humans. Well, I don't know how many there are in this universe, but in the normal Halo universe, they're pretty established throughout the universe and galaxy. So hopefully we get the direction. I mean, we know they want the weapon, but that's about it. Like, we haven't seen any prophets or anything, because usually prophets are on those ships. Like, you know, they're in charge. Like, they're telling them what the other elites and all those soldiers what to do.
Yeah.
So, but the scene was cool. I like that they showed it because it's the first time we actually got to see that.
Hopefully at some point we get an actual view, or maybe a different planet where it's happening, not just news coverage of it.
Yeah.
And actually see it happening, because that'd be fantastic. But
like an actual fight.
Yeah.
There was just a little fun fact about glassing. It takes between a few hours or 2 days to glass a planet. So just a little fun fact.
Yeah, not bad.
And it also destroys all the bodies of water on that planet. And it leaves, like, ash-choked pools. So it's a serious thing. So, it's really cool, though. It was cool to read about.
Yeah.
So that's why I just put it in my notes, because I thought that was a fun thing to just share with Halo fans, if you don't know. Or new Halo fans.
So after Keyes and the other commanders and everything talking about initiating Cole Protocol, John says it's not the right call and they need to take the fight to the Covenant. And Keyes asked how, and John says the Blessed One can show us where they are. And Keyes says that she can't do that because of the Blessed One's past, and that she can't be trusted, and everything that she's gone through. And then the chief, real sassy, says how he did because he overcame all the tormenting, like the chip and everything that the UNSC did.
Yeah, an indoctrination. He uses that word, but it's really... So how many days do you think this is since he met the Blessed One? Like 2-3 days?
Not long, because we'll talk about it here later, but Halsey is still on reach. So, and she was supposed to leave pretty fast.
So a day? He just met the Blessed One and he's like, I trust her. So either Master Chief has never made friends, which he might, I don't know, but you don't trust somebody after a day.
Yeah. I agree. That's weird. Their excuse would probably be that he's human now and he's never had connections. So the first kind of like
person,
a baby with a mom, or also it could be whatever the stupid weird connection that they have with the same DNA or whatever's going on
artifact thing, and
yeah, so maybe that's it. But I agree.
Come on, man, you're the Master Chief.
He's the Master Chief. And then Captain Key suggests that Miranda can lead this. And
and I would trust Miranda a lot more than I would the Blessed One. We love the Blessed One, but we can't trust her.
Yeah. Do you have anything before we keep going? Next thing I had was with Riz and Vanek.
Yep, Riz and Vanek. They're looking at a Covenant dropship, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I had that in here too. That it seems like the UNSC have control over a Phantom.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah.
And Vanek asks about Kai's status and if she is fit for duty. And then I actually liked this next scene. I don't know how you felt about it, unless you had something before.
No, I had a couple comments on the next scene. If you want to go first, you can.
The next scene? So Kai just has a crowd around her, and she is lifting like some large objects, and I'm guessing they bet her that she couldn't lift it because they gave her some money. And then, I don't know, I just enjoyed the scene. I thought it was funny. And then she also lifts a warthog. I think there were like 3 people in it, and I thought that was funny also. I just like the scene. I don't know, like there's just a crowd around her, and she's just showing off how strong she is.
Yeah, I thought it was a little corny, but not as bad as some of the show. I was just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think it was the worst thing. I more so noticed as soon as we cut to her when she was pulling the rope. I don't know if you saw the amazing booty shot that we got.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay. We did get that.
It made me more sad that they teased us with only seeing part of it.
Yeah,
when it was bare because I was a man.
It's like, it's right there.
But no, I didn't think this scene was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, no, I actually, it gave me a little enjoyment. I was like, oh, this is pretty. This is cool.
Yeah, I guess to be fair, that's probably what military people would do if they had something like that. So I guess.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do?
Yeah.
Besides, study Covenant stuff and wait for orders, because apparently they're not at war, even though they definitely should be.
They're definitely studying Kai, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then it cuts to Miranda trying to translate the Sangheili still.
Yep. And go ahead.
I was just going to add one thing. Do you remember one of the earlier episodes we talked about how she's kind of cute in this show, but it was like the opposite of the Blessed One? When you look up the Blessed One, she's even more attractive outside the show. And this, she looked kind of freaky in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't notice this right away, but she was on the after show this week. Did you watch it?
I didn't.
Okay. And as soon as she came on, somebody was like, what's wrong with her eyebrows? Does she not have eyebrows? And everybody started commenting on it.
Oh, my God.
And I think she dyes her eyebrows because she does have them, but they're like light blonde.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why I didn't notice that right away because people with no eyebrows, I know it's rude to say, it's just true. It freaks me out. And that's come from somebody. I already don't have the most defined eyebrows, but as a kid, they were even lighter. So I used to be in that boat. So I feel like I can say it anyways because I used to be there. And I thought it was weird on myself. This looks so weird to.
Yeah.
Even though I do have eyebrows, it doesn't look like I do, and that's weird to me. So I think that's why she looks so weird outside the show.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I say with eyebrows, I don't notice them until they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, if you have them, I don't notice them. But once they're gone, then I'm like, oh, crap, you don't have eyebrows. So,
yeah, I think so for the most part. There are some girls where it stands out or they have, like, really defined ones. But, yeah, for the most part, it's just something that you don't notice until it's not there. That's why I don't know why I didn't catch that as soon as I saw her outside the show. Yeah. Like everybody else did here.
It's just weird that eyebrows exist, though. Like, eyes just have hair? Like, what? Well, what's with that? Odd. It's something that I don't think about, but once you bring it up, it's like, whoa, these are the weirdest things ever, but most people have them.
I don't know, though. Right underneath it is actually weirder that we just have these hairs that cover our eyeballs when we close our eyes. There they are.
Like, oh, nice. Don't even think about it. They're just there.
The next thing I have was it cuts to the Blessed One. Did you have anything before that?
Let's see. Where Keyes is deciphering the Covenant translation, and then good old Captain Keyes comes into the room.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she was basically just saying that she was having a really difficult time translating it, and she said there's like something weird with the transmission, like an
accent.
Yeah, like an accent is what Captain Keyes says. And then he's like, if anyone can figure this out, it's you. So he has faith in his daughter. I like the scene.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was well acted and just shows their relationship a little bit more, because he obviously cares about his daughter. Halsey, she gives no shits. Like, if you want bad parenting, look at Halsey.
Yeah.
Except even to the Spartans. So she's just, she's Halsey. So yes, then we are back to the Blessed One.
You did remind me of one thing when talking about translation. I was really hoping, I can't believe I haven't heard a Elite say wart yet. I thought that would have been the perfect time to squeeze one in there, even as like an Easter egg thing. Like as it's translating and starting to get there, you could throw one of those in there, even if you don't want it to be like, I think it should be in the show, but even if they think it's too goofy or whatever, even though we've had way more goofy shit than that in this show, I think that would have been a cool way to do it, to throw it in there.
They should have done it.
Yeah, I was looking for it.
It would have made fans so happy.
Mm-hmm. But that's all I wanted to add. Like you said, cuts to the Blessed One, and then John comes up through the hallway and tells the guards that they're relieved. And I made a joke. I know you weren't here last week. I said that's not the only thing about to get relieved. And I thought it was a joke until he went in there. And well, I guess there's a couple things, but we all know what this is leading to. But I thought I was joking at this point.
I think we all joked about this, and it actually happened. And yeah, we'll get into
it. So Chief goes in, or John, sorry.
Yeah, it's John. I'm John.
He says that they're gonna let the Blessed One use the artifact to locate the Covenant planet.
He's gonna use her artifact.
Hey. And then he gives her a book, and that's pretty much all it takes for the Blessed One to need bang. She was like, brought me a book. Well, I gotta repay you.
Yeah, time to go. And it's the same book from her childhood.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
That's what I thought it would be, but he specifies. He said, "I know it's not the one that you used to read."
Oh.
And she starts freaking out about how it's close enough, and it still means all the same. So not even the one she needed, and she still was like, "Yep, gotta repay you."
Oh yeah, this is the way. And she puts her hand on his chest and says, "Thank you," and then they kiss and bang.
Yeah, real awkwardly. For one, no nudity, which is sad. They keep touching each other's scars, which is like the creepiest thing you could do.
Yeah. It's really weird.
All his sexual body parts, and ooh, these scars are so hot.
These nice scars you got.
And then, like I said, on top of it being awkward, and I think very unnecessary, I think realistic, but in the story that they're telling, and I know it's its own story, but doesn't mean it can't be criticized. I feel like, even though I enjoy this show, and like I said, it sounds like I might not with my criticism, that's because I care so much about it.
Yeah.
And I know how good it can be. I think the show, even at its best, which I think when it's at its best is very entertaining, I think it still has so much more potential even when it's at its best.
Oh, yeah.
Which sucks because that makes me worry that that's what the show is, and if they did things differently. But I think some things are too late to go back on, because I think that'd be weird. I think they can fix a lot of things that they want to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think there's some things that they just literally had to reboot it to have it make sense at this point on some of the issues or some of the decisions they made.
Yeah. So they kind of had to accept some of the decisions, but this was just... I mean, we joked about it at the beginning of the show, saying, oh, they're going to have a romance and stuff, or they're either going to be rivals or romance. That's pretty much what we got, and they just have an awkward romance, though.
Yeah. I know I said this a few times, and I'm going to say a couple more times because I have more notes in here, but this show just keeps feeling more and more like Mass Effect than Halo. I don't know. I know you know about Mass Effect, but I don't know how much you know.
I haven't got too into it. I actually plan on playing it.
Okay.
Because they have like the whole collection on Game Pass. So I plan on playing it, and I think there's a remastered version, so I'm gonna play that after I get through Halo Reach.
Those games are, it's kind of a running joke. There's so much more to it, but you're forming relationships, and you can form intimate relationships. And it almost reminds me, because in the game, I mean, it's well done as you can get, especially a game at that time, but still, there's not motion capture, so it's just digital animation. So they're, like I said, it's good as it gets, but it's real awkward still because they like can't quite touch each other's face, and they're like kind of moving.
Yeah,
and it's real sexual, but also a little awkward. But these were real humans, and it was still kind of like that. And
yeah,
I said again, it made me feel like Mass Effect. That the show feels more like that than that, and then it's like relationship forming like they do in Mass Effect. And then, like I said, the double whammy of not seeing any nudity on top of it. I'm like, man, it's like, not only do we not need this,
you didn't even show anything. Like, come on.
I will say, like I said, she's more attractive outside the show, but there's something about her hair even in the show that I don't know, I like, and I hate short hair.
Not a fan of short hair either, but I feel like it fits her.
Yeah, it's weird, and especially weird because I said I still think she looks better outside the show with her regular hair. But,
oh yeah, but even the short hair, it's not bad.
Yeah, there is a weird thing where it's like light blonde. I don't know if you noticed her little like mullet thing forming in the back, which that made it go a little, maybe like this much where it starts to turn brown. I don't know if that's intentional.
I did notice that. No, it might be intentional. I'm not.
Doesn't look good.
No.
But back to them awkwardly touching each other and rubbing each other's scars. Then it cuts to Cortana watching them.
Yeah, and she looks jealous. Did you see her face? She is jealous right now. This is a computer AI jealous of like Master. Like she's jealous. She's like, I want to be the blessed one. Like I was like, wait, it's Cortana. So Cortana wants to get banged by John also.
Well, it gets way creepier later with Cortana watching, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Did you have anything before they wake up together, or she wakes up, I should say?
Yeah, John is just asleep in the bed, and the blessed one is staring at him. Just staring.
And then starts rubbing her finger on him, and I was like, is she really gonna... Are they going to do something stupid where she kills him or something?
That's bro, I was like, if this happens, what is the point of Halo anymore?
Yeah, I was like, this better not fucking happen. But then she gets out of bed, and she pulls off her finger. It goes like straight Saul out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And removes the energy finger, or energy nail. And it appears it's like some kind of Covenant technology or something implanted in her, so... It's still a little silly, but I guess actually they answer something for once, which usually they don't in this show that we bring up, of like, why does she have that? Like,
yeah.
Some like superpower or something stupid. It seems like something was implanted in her.
So it's just implanted in her, but why does she take it out?
I think she took it out. Well, it gets confusing at the end of the show. I was going to see what you thought. But I think that's her trying to come around to actually be human and not want to be like that is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, but then
it gets confusing at the end.
The end we'll talk about this later then, because at first I was like, oh, maybe she actually likes Master Chief, but then the later part in the episode, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Next thing I had was a cut to Halsey talking about John has a girlfriend.
Yeah, and so Cortana told them that they were banging.
Yeah.
Because they didn't outright say that, but Cortana was just watching them, and then she's talking to Halsey. So Cortana is expressing her jealousy.
Yeah, and...
Justice for Cortana.
And then Cortana goes on to say... Again, how they're the same, and now they're more same than ever because all these interlinkings and DNA. And I was like, I don't. Are they a couple? Like, are they a couple? Or are they related? Or are we going like next level? We talk about Star Wars connections. It's like next level Star Wars. They're like, well, these siblings kissed, and well, these siblings had sex. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what would their couple name be? Master McKee.
I'm gonna have to think about that. If you guys want to comment your answers as well for,
and maybe you ship them.
Ship them. I get it, like space.
Yeah.
You guys can use Master Chief, John 117, the Blessed One, and McKee. Any combination of those together.
Yeah. Let us
Go
know.
wild.
Yeah. Be a fun little thing to do.
Yeah.
I'll think of one too. Maybe we can share it at the beginning of the next episode.
That works. Next thing I had was, it is Captain Keyes going to talk to Halsey. You have anything before that?
Yeah, he visits Halsey in her little isolation room.
And he says how Parangoski wants Halsey off the planet by noon. And there's a back and forth there for a while, and he's getting all feisty about how she doesn't care about anything and how far is she willing to take this.
Yeah, and she is willing to sacrifice everything.
Yep, that's what
for
I had
the human race. Which I don't blame her for this. Like, as far as she wants to save humanity almost, but she also realizes that the problem with humanity is humans. So with the Spartans, she tried to cut out their humanity. So I completely understand what she's trying to do, but also she just cuts herself off from like everybody pretty much. Like even Captain Keyes and Miranda, who's her daughter, she doesn't care about her at all. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, I think in this way you say it makes sense, but I think again something she says later seems to conflict with her own plan, the way you phrased it, but we'll see what you think.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to make her a bad guy.
They are,
but she's not.
No, which I know it's his own universe, but that's what I'm saying. Just because it's his own universe doesn't mean you can't criticize something. And I feel like a lot of things are doing. That's what I'm saying. Some things I don't think can be reversible, or you just have to reboot it, which would be even more silly.
Yeah, we don't want to reboot. We want it to continue. We want it to build and keep getting better.
Yeah. I mean, they could flip it and just be like, oh, I'm good now, but you'd have to do a lot of retconning or just do like you've done this episode and just ignore things, I guess.
Yeah. Making Halsey evil is a mistake.
Yeah.
Because that's not what she is.
Yeah. I think as we get into it a little bit here later, I think their point of doing it is so Cortana can form with the Master Chief, which I think is in that storytelling is well done in this episode, but that's the issue, like my main issue with a lot of things that work in this show. Even the things that work, I'm like, it worked because you went a roundabout way of telling a not as interesting story.
Yeah.
Instead of just Halsey cared about humans and survival and the Spartans. And so Cortana followed through with that instead of having to be like inner battle with it.
Yeah.
Went just so backwards.
And I don't know. I don't think when she makes the Spartans, they do not know about the Covenant as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. I don't think
or at least in the books, that's how it is. Because they meet the Covenant later, and John is a full Spartan when they first come in contact.
Yeah.
So it's actually good that she made the Spartans, because if they didn't have the Spartans, they would have got wiped completely.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a interesting take on Halsey.
Yeah.
For sure.
So next thing I had was she gets another contact made.
Yep.
That gives her Category 1 clearance. So essentially gives her the base level of what Miranda can control.
Yep. Which is important because she was cut from all access in episode, I believe it was 6.
Yeah.
When Parangoski cut her off and was like, you're done, pretty much. And so she's got access again.
And Cortana's watching all this happen, which I have that in here a couple times because I think that connects to later in the story of why something happened.
Yeah, Cortana's paying attention to all of this.
Everything.
So, yeah.
And then she uses her clearance to talk to the Blessed One, brings up like a video chat in her room.
Yeah.
And Halsey says the UNSC, you really fucked me up with way back in this beginning here. I didn't mess up once before. UNSC cannot have the artifacts because it cannot be trusted with them. And Cortana's watching this as well. And then the Blessed One says, "Why are you telling me and not John?" And Halsey says, "You have a connection with John that I will never have. It's been wonderful to watch." And we were all like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
I noticed that too. I noticed it.
Yeah,
I was like...
That's where I said it only gets creepier with Cortana later, because I think that's what she's referencing. I was like, that's your kid.
Yeah. So...
I know it's not her kid, but you know what I mean?
I guess...
She had him when he was 6, so...
Yeah, so I guess her and Aiden were all huddled up watching Master Chief get it on, because Aiden's always there. He's there. He's still creepy the whole time. Any line he says, he's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So him, Halsey, and Cortana were just having a porn watch together, and she thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, she even goes on to say later how she's had him since he was 6. I'm like, that's not something you say after you just said that. It was wonderful to watch him have sex, but all right. And then the guard comes in, and the video cuts out, and... I don't know if you noticed how video gamey this was, and not in a good way like we talked about sometimes in this episode.
Yeah.
He comes in, like, "What was that? I heard you talking to somebody." And he goes around the corner, and then he just leaves. And then immediately the video, of course, comes back up.
It comes back on.
And then he doesn't come in. I was like, that's literally like straight NPC shit of like just tricking a dumb computer in a video game. What was that? Okay, carry on. And
she didn't even answer him, though, I think. Like, who are you talking to? Just sits there. That's it. And then he's like, "Okay, bye."
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was like, what in the shit? No wonder nobody checked the cameras. This is how you're operating this thing?
Yeah, that's why maybe the guard just sucks that they put on the Blessed One, which wouldn't make sense. You would think you'd have the best guards, but, they're kind of stupid, apparently. So they just put the dumbest guard. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's like, "Oh, go Covenant." Maybe he's a Covenant advocate. Maybe he's like the Covenant are right.
Mm-hmm. So once she comes back on the screen, she tells the Blessed One to get John and the artifact and bring it to her, and she'll have I put a shop ready to take him there, but it's definitely a ship. I was like, the hell is a shop? Oh, wait. So
the Grunts Lemonade shop. Need to see it.
Yeah. So this is where I feel like what you're talking about with her kind of conflicts with what she says. The Blessed One asked what she plans to do with it once she has that, or once she has control of Halo. And then she says, "We tap into the intelligence of Halo and will unleash our full and true potential." And then the Blessed One looks like scared and worried, and she says, "Like gods." And yeah, the video cuts out, and I feel like that was her realizing, like, she didn't care about saving humanity. She just wants to be like the top power, and it doesn't matter if humanity's gone. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah. I got that too. I was like, so is she power hungry, or is it because she, like you said, contradicted? So I don't know. I think maybe she's... See, you wouldn't say that to the Blessed One, though. I don't know. Obviously, they need to get it before the Covenant do. Mm-hmm. So that's important. But the way she said that was just bad.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just bad writing.
There is some of that in the show. So
because I think that having her say, like, "Oh, we just need to get this before the Covenant do, because if the Covenant get it, who knows what they'll do with it." Because they don't really know what it does yet. I think they know it's a weapon, but they're not sure the scope, like how powerful of a weapon it is.
Yeah.
So I think her being like, "Oh, we need to get this and secure it before the Covenant can do it." But they didn't do that. They make her seem power hungry, and basically, if you wipe out all the Covenant with it, are you better than the Covenant at that point? So it almost seems like, with this show, that they make the UNSC the lesser of two evils, and I don't like it.
Yeah, me either.
Because the Covenant are evil. They want to cleanse, and that's basically killing all humanity. There's no peace with them. Like, they don't want peace. The humans could there's no negotiations. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really weird how they're making it like that. Because there's all this infighting in the UNSC and all, oh, you're corrupt, you're corrupt. They're just all fighting each other instead of focusing on what the real threat is.
And I think to a point that's realistic, and I think that's a criticism the opposite way a lot of times in like hero kind of stuff, like, oh, we're the good guys and we don't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I think it does make sense to a point that if you're going to say something and you're going to be that powerful and you're going to be something like that, you're going to have to do some things shady and wrong and not the right way. But yeah, I feel like they go way beyond that.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we were even saying at the beginning of doing this that how that made sense and how you're going to have to do some things like that. But yeah, they just seem to keep taking it farther and farther.
Yeah, there's no, like, the Covenant. I mean, we can go over the screen time for the Covenant in this total show. It's probably like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. There's so much human drama. If I want to watch a drama, I'll turn on a drama. Give me some action.
I'm with you. It cuts to, the video cuts away and then goes to Halsey. And I actually really liked this dialogue. I don't know if you remember, I put it in here. She said, of the human brain's myriad design flaws, the hardest to overcome is attachment. And I actually thought that was good writing. I was like,
Yeah.
I've never really thought about that, but that's definitely true.
Yeah.
And then says, what is it? It makes us sentimental. And then says, people abandon all reason for the sake of pride or fear, and then it's silent, and then Cortana says, or love. And then Halsey looks not pleased and says, yes, or love.
Yeah.
And I think that shows that, again, that seems again to me, she's upset that she's saying that because she is like, yeah, it's not about love, it's about these other things.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really did like the beginning of that, the hardest thing to overcome is attachment, because that is,
it's true.
It's definitely true. And it shows, I think, two things about the love line, I guess. Like I said, I feel like it kind of conflicts with what she says earlier in the episode, but I think it also shows that her struggles of not knowing how to do that, like not knowing how to love, and that she doesn't know that that should be part of it, even though it can be too much to the point of where you can't overcome it because of attachment.
Yeah, no, that's a really good line. But is Cortana saying she's in love with Master Chief? Or was she just saying that too?
I think she was saying that to point out that Halsey doesn't think like a human. Like, that was your last thought. You're still not thinking about love, even when you're thinking about the hardest.
Yeah, because Halsey doesn't think about love, obviously, because we see how she treats her daughter.
Yeah, I think that's why she gets kind of annoyed and says yes or love, because I think she's like, you're my creation, and you're talking back to me like that when I don't care about that.
Yeah, okay, that makes some more sense. I was just thinking, like, oh, is she... just because of what happens later, I was like, oh, Cortana's got a thing, and earlier, because she definitely looked jealous. I was like, does an AI have a thing for John, too?
I mean, in the games, they don't get romantic at all, which they shouldn't. Something the show
it's
could
kind of impossible,
take, but I feel like they definitely have a love connection the way that, like, friends say they love each other.
Yeah.
I think that, even if that's what they're saying, it'll be like that. Well, hopefully it'll be like that. I feel like that's what it is in the game.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just, definitely in the game. Like, they're friends.
Yeah.
Even if she is an AI, like, she's always with Chief, and she's always helping him, and so we'll get into this later, because there's some stuff that happens that I was like, oh shoot. But also I didn't understand why Cortana did what she did, because Master Chief is an asshole to her for 7 episodes, or 6, because we didn't get that last week. But yeah, let's this next scene after is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, where she gets all the Spartans ready.
Oh, yeah. I was...
kind of like we saw the first episode, really similar, actually.
Yeah, it was really cool. She tells Cortana to signal the Spartans, and they all get in their armor, and they're all badass looking. And Halsey basically tells them not to trust anyone and that they are to get the artifact. And all their orders come from Halsey. And Kai actually starts questioning her orders.
Yeah, she initiates here Zed Protocol.
Zed Protocol, yeah. I have that later. But,
okay, gotcha.
Basically, they're not supposed to trust Master Chief either. She basically tells them that Master Chief is compromised.
Yeah.
He can't be trusted. So they're supposed to get Master Chief, the Blessed One, and the artifact and bring it to Halsey. So Halsey, she tried to, be a little reasonable and just, Blessed One, you bring me Master Chief and the artifact. No violence. But this time, she was like, all right, it's time to bring out the big guns.
Mm-hmm.
So she got the Spartans.
Yeah, I think this scene was really cool setup, like you said, and really reminded me of the first episode. And I thought the overruling of the Cold Protocol, the Zed Protocol, and yeah, fuck that was. I was like, oh my god. And then Riz says how John won't go down without a fight, and Halsey explains how Cortana can put him in stasis and will shut him down if needed.
Yeah, which we saw earlier in the show, so I'm glad they brought that back up.
Yeah.
Because, we know what it does, and just kind of knocks him out.
Yeah.
So that's useful, instead of having to fight Chief, because we know how good of a fighter he is, and he's the best of the Spartans, or supposed to be.
Yeah. And Kai asks if there's any other way, because you can tell she's the other human in the Spartans and doesn't want something to happen. And then Halsey says, unfortunately not, and it cuts back to her, putting her as inactive. And then it cuts away from the Spartans, and she says, Riz and Vanek, I need you to listen very closely. And I don't know about you, I like Kai, but the show has not had many surprises, good surprises and holy shit moments.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to kill her, and I would have been okay with it.
Oh, man, I thought they were going to... I was a little scared.
I mean, like I said, I like her. I wasn't like, yeah, fucking kill her like some characters.
Yeah.
I just thought it would have been unexpected and actually a moment where they had some balls at least instead of just...
Yeah, it would have been so crazy if she died, and not attached to her like some Walking Dead characters that sadly leave us. I won't spoil anything if,
Yeah.
Walking Dead deaths are brutal. Or like Game of Thrones, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you've watched Game of Thrones. I don't know if you have.
I haven't, but I know,
they're just known for those those unexpected character deaths, and if they would have killed Kai, I would have been like, holy crap.
It really seemed like set up for it, but then it just knocked her out, and I was like, oh, she's definitely not dying, because I feel like if they killed her later, that would just been straight up lame. I feel like if you do, it has to be a shock moment of oh shit, she's going. Yeah. And that's why I thought it would work, because she's obviously going full on crazy mode. So uh-oh. Yeah,
because she's like, well, this is Chief we're talking about. This is someone we've been in combat with for years and have trusted. Is it really true that he's compromised?
Yeah.
And obviously the chip, her taking out her chip is making her question stuff like this. But man, if they would have killed her, it would have been crazy. I think it might have been a good direction, though.
Yeah.
I don't dislike what they did, though. They knock her out and they chain her up.
Yeah. Sorry, I had some in my eye. Yeah, no, I think once they didn't kill her, like I said, that's the way you got to do it, because then the only way that kill, I feel like, becomes valid is the moment's so crazy and they have to do it. If they did it later, that would have just been real dumb.
Yeah. In that, just because she was like, Vanek and Riz, and then we didn't hear the dialogue, I don't think.
No.
So that would have been a perfect time to just bang, would have been.
And they turn around too, as oh, they're gonna fucking take her
they just
out.
punch her brutally. Yeah. Vanek is just like bang bang, and then she's gone.
And then it cuts back to Master Chief in his Mass Effect black uniform, and he's going to get the Blessed One. And then
he's escorting her.
Yeah, he is. Then it cuts to Miranda, and she's still trying to translate, and it seems like she's kind of making progress.
Yeah, the Blessed One. The Blessed One does ask what the humans will do when they get the weapon, and John says they will destroy the Covenant and end the war. So they are at war. Holy crap! I didn't realize.
They don't either. Don't worry, you're not alone. And then it cuts to Kai, we see locked up, and she's trying to kick out of it and get free. And then it cuts back to Miranda again. And I think... Wait, oh yeah, this is where it is. I think this part was really well done as well.
Oh, this was really well done.
I guess why I should have started this episode, there's a lot of issues I have in kind of like the series as a whole. But I think one thing this episode did really well was pacing, which has been an issue definitely last week, and I think consistently at different times.
Pacing was good, and I mean the action wasn't incredible, which we're close to some action. But it was good, like as far as connecting everything. And yeah, that's all I got for that.
I guess I should have said when I was talking about Chief's outfit, I realized I didn't put it till later, so I didn't want to fake it. But I didn't track the other Spartans. But actually, for the most part, generally I know Riz and Bannock were in their outfits most, if not, well, not the whole time, most of the episode.
Yeah.
And Kai was kind of like half and half, so Chief was the one that really stood out. Like I said, it's not that I need to know every second they don't have their helmet on, so that seems to be the trend or the norm instead of the exception.
Especially for John, though.
Oh, yeah, him for sure.
The other Spartans have their armor on way more than John.
Yeah, still not enough, but definitely more. I was thinking back to the first episode, which feels like forever ago now. I think it's because we do this. But something I talked about, how these kind of shows make less sense to not have the voice actors because you have an excuse to have them be hidden than whoever you want in the uniform.
Yeah.
I guess we see fully now why they didn't do that. Again, I think is a not valid reason because you didn't have to tell the story like this.
No.
But it would have been almost impossible to have the voice actor in there. I forgot what Master Chief even sounded like at the beginning. Like I said, I don't prefer his voice in this over the game, but I was like, yeah, it kind of grew on me. But that voice is almost forgettable because he doesn't sound like that outside the helmet. And I feel like when you've heard him in the helmet, it doesn't really sound like that anymore. It kind of just like faded away.
Yeah,
he just like talks.
Yeah, it's just
kind of weird.
The actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. His video game voice is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like we all love Master Chief if you've played the games. Like he's one of the most incredible video game characters ever.
Yeah.
So it's weird seeing him like this.
Yeah.
It's just it's the opposite direction of what I'm used to. And maybe if you haven't played the games, it doesn't bother you. But I really recommend watching some cutscenes from the games and like just to see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or even just play the games if you haven't.
Definitely if you can, yeah.
Because they, you might just think, oh, it's just a first-person shooter, but the story behind Halo is really good.
Yeah. I know I took us on a bit of a tangent there, a pretty important part, but then it cuts to Miranda translating, and she figures out that it's the blessed one. And starts freaking out, of course, as you would.
Yeah, and I was waiting for that, episode 6. She asked the Blessed One if she could help her with the translation.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess she was like, forget you, I'll do it myself. But she figured it out, and she was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, I would, obviously anybody would. It'd be like,
oh, yeah.
We have a Covenant person who murdered, like, an entire ship. Like, they just wrecked an entire ship. So, it's crazy.
Yeah. So.
And as an audience, obviously, we know.
Yeah.
She's going to figure it out, but seeing the character realize it was cool.
Mm-hmm. So, the Chief and the Blessed One are walking down these hallways together, and Vanek and Riz are waiting to stop Chief. He obviously doesn't know it. And then Cortana keeps trying to butt in. And this part is a little awkward, but kind of funny. He was talking to himself, and I forget that nobody else knows about Cortana.
Yeah.
So Blessed One's like, who are you talking to? What was that? And he just keeps talking to her. And, again, being a tool to her.
Yeah.
Chief, not now. Chief, not now. And then
Justice for Cortana.
Then Vanek and Riz are still waiting, and this part finally reminded me of the game again, which just for Cortana, that's, I feel like something, even like things that they've done the best, I feel like fade away. I forget now when she first came in how much it felt like the game and felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
and now she just feels like another character because they're kind of letting her be there.
Yeah.
But this moment felt like where she like freaked out and told him to stop, and then I like finally got through his head.
Yeah.
And this is where we were talking about all the time she was watching and why it was key, because keys,
like the captain.
She obviously is programmed by Halsey. And I feel like you've seen this, obviously, as an audience. Like you said, you see it coming from a mile away. You know that eventually you could tell the move she was making, that she was fading away from Halsey.
Yeah.
But I think this is a point where it actually happened, and Halsey doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, Halsey has no idea, and Cortana, like, in the earlier scenes, you could just see Cortana, she's, like, questioning everything.
Yeah.
She's like, is this actually right, like, what we're doing? Which she is an AI, so they can obviously question things and learn and adapt, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that she chose, I'm glad she chose the side of Master Chief.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, again, a roundabout way and not how I would have done it. I think the games do it better. But I think this is the reason they set up Halsey like they did, and why they set up this weird hatred relationship between Chief and Cortana, because I think they're trying to build up to this where he needed her, which you see as this episode goes on. I feel like, even though I don't like how they did it, I think if they do it right going forward, they could feel more like the games in that sense, because I think that's what they're doing in a roundabout way.
Yeah, especially just the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana, because I feel like it's just so important.
Yeah.
To the just the Halo universe in general, just how they work together and are such a good team. Because she really does help Master Chief a lot.
Yeah. So I think this is there's a couple small ones. I mean, she's helping him a lot even in the show, but we talked about how he doesn't recognize it or he brushed it aside. I feel like there's a couple times when you could tell he was holy shit, like when she brought the whole search engine like we talked about and everything.
Yeah, he was just surprised by it and was like, this is kind of cool. But then other times he's like, stop talking.
Yeah.
Or shut up. Not now. I don't want to listen to you. Like, just stuff like that. And yeah. And I mean, even in this episode, though, like, their relationship is pretty much gone. He doesn't even think about her. That's why when she started talking, he's like, not now. Like,
yeah, that's the point I was getting to when she yelled stop, though. I think this is supposed to be, and I feel like it should be. We'll see how the show handles it.
Yeah.
I think what they're aiming for is this, where he finally realized it, like, okay, you saved my life, and if you didn't do that, I would have been dead. And as the show goes on, we see that he's interacting more with her and that they're, like, working together.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what the whole point of that was, even though it's not a great point. But
it could have been done better.
Yeah.
Which we say a lot, I feel like.
I think valid, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah. It kept coming back to Aiden at different points. Did you notice how his accent goes in and out?
Yes, I did.
Okay. It's pretty distracting.
Yeah, very. But he's creepy as normal.
Uh-huh. And then we see the fight scene, mainly like fist fighting, like kind of martial artists, maybe.
Yeah, Vanek and John are really, and Vanek is strong.
Yeah.
Like, really freaking strong. I don't know. I don't remember the exact, but in the book I'm reading, they were talking about the armor, and it makes them way stronger, and they're already strong.
Oh, yeah.
But the armor makes them, like, insanely strong, and they can run faster and stuff. And John does not have his armor on during this fight.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the smartest guy in the galaxy, but he appears to be a fucking idiot with his armor choice.
Yeah, so Vanek is just kind of beating the crap out of him. Because Vanek has his armor, and we know he's the Master Chief. But this guy he looks like the muscle.
Yeah.
If you want to put it that way. Just the dumb brickhead who hits stuff.
Mm-hmm. So the fight scene cuts to Captain Keyes, and he sees that the comms are down, which was done by Halsey.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the UNSC starts realizing that something's up. I feel like all of it kind of... I feel like I talked about it as good pacing, but I feel like also good in the way that you actually feel what's happening in this episode. Not like that much emotionally, but like you can feel what it's building towards, which a lot of times you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah,
you
like know
that something like each thing was happening towards something else, which was a nice change of pace.
And good. It was done pretty well. Like,
yeah.
I'd say it was done solid.
Yeah. So he tells the Marines to go find the Blessed One and Chief, and they come back with just the Blessed One. And then it goes back to the fight scene. It kind of like jumps back and forth, but not in a bad way like normal.
Yeah.
And Cortana's interacting a lot with Chief, like we talked about during his battle, and like trying to help him. And then she goes straight like Tesla hog and controls a warthog and
it was really cool.
rams Vanek.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's another thing I'm like, so if AIs can control, why the fuck do these things have to steer in the games? And I feel like it'd be pretty convenient to just sit there and be, all right, let's shoot everybody. We don't need to control these things.
Yeah,
but
like, go Cortana.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
So then it cuts back to the UNSC again, and Miranda runs in and tells everyone that the Blessed One is the one on the recording. The Blessed One is there for it. And then there's argument back and forth, and this is where, to me, I feel like she was either faking real well, or I feel like maybe she does want to be different, because it kind of seemed like she wasn't faking it to me, and like she took out her finger earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if she actually genuinely doesn't want this to happen, and she has a fucking weird connection with the Chief. And I thought maybe Asha was sincere, but maybe she was still faking it. That's why I thought maybe it did connect to the finger being taken out.
Yeah, and she was acting weird, but like we know her mission from the beginning of the show, as the storylines are separate. So I don't know, would Master Chief change her that much in a day from her mission?
You wouldn't think so, but like I said, I don't know. I feel like the taking out the energy nail was supposed to be symbolic of that. If not, I don't know why you put that scene in there.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like an internal battle. Maybe she knows her mission and wants to do it, but doesn't feel like she should.
She might be questioning, but then even after, because Miranda tells them like, hey, she's on the recording, and she touches the artifact.
Yeah, they tase her and she gets flashbacks when she was a kid. So I don't know
how tasing does. Oh, wait, yeah, she got tased. Yeah. No, she watched her friend get tased.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe that's what it was. She was actually, it'd be silly again, but that's the way I thought maybe they were doing it. She was actually coming to terms and wanting to be good, and then that flashback triggered like a bad.
And she was like, oh, humanity is terrible.
Yeah, and she was like, okay, well, back to it.
Yeah. And
then she touched the artifact. In between that, though, it cuts to the battle again, and Riz is aiming the gun at Master Chief, and I don't know if this part makes sense, because he's like, Riz, it's me, and obviously they've just battled for like 10 minutes, and they've tried this 1,000 times about the humans, well, the human Spartans and the Spartans, and of course the Spartans don't get it because they are literally programmed,
right?
But then for some reason she's like, oh shit, it is
Chief.
you.
But she still has her chip.
Yeah, like that doesn't. He can say it all he wants, and we've seen that they try and do that, but they're literally like robots. They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how that really. I mean, she's still aiming at him, but they do the stupid thing where they go to her eyes inside the visor, and I feel like that's what they're implying. She's like, oh shit, it is you. Maybe it cuts back, and she's like, but yeah, so then it comes back to the artifact. She's speaking in Sangheili, and then she touches the artifact. And then it cuts back to John back on Halo and with the Blessed One. And this music sounded straight out of Mass Effect 2. Oh, right. I was like, this is so fucking weird. And then I think it comes back to Reach and then it ends.
Yeah, it goes back to Reach, and there's like a wave, I think, that hits all of them, and the Spartans get knocked back, so their fight kind of ends. Yeah. Because Riz is debating shooting Master Chief, and then Vanek is like, just do it. Because, Vanek don't give a shit. He doesn't question things, as we learned in episode 4 or 5, one of the two. And then that shockwave like ends their fight, and then the episode ends.
Yeah. The after show last week also, the artifact, you know how they touch it and those like blue lines go all through it?
Yeah.
I had no clue. I would have guessed that was CGI and really cheesy CGI. But that's actually all a prop that they made. Obviously, when it goes to like the hologram outside, that's CGI.
Yeah.
But like the whole artifact lighting up is all actual, real,
That's
practical
cool.
effects.
Yeah.
I was like, that's funny because we criticize a lot of like the CGI and poor stuff in this, and that's something I haven't commented on yet, but I easily could have, and I would have seen those real. I'm like, well, I guess I'm the idiot because I called it fake and it was literally just real lights. So, yeah, I thought that was really cool to see and really well done.
Practical effects can be really cool if done correctly.
I'm not a CGI hater like a lot of people. I think good CGI is perfectly fine. I think poor CGI stands out, as we've seen in the show at times.
Yeah.
But even decent CGI, like when it doesn't distract you, I think is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and when it's done well, and Jurassic Park was made in 1993, and they used so many practical effects in that movie.
Yeah.
And I just bring it up because it changed CGI like it really did for movies going forward. But like they use like, I think it's 90 CG scenes in Jurassic Park. And today in blockbusters like that, you're getting thousands. So the fact, and I think that movie is one of the, like I rewatch that probably once a year. I love that movie.
And you drink their Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for that movie that's on the Dr. Pepper. But I just reference it because, like, when practical effects are done really well, they're amazing and will stand, like, even Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, like 1977, and people are still watching it today.
Yeah.
So, practical effects are cool.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about as far as the episode as a whole? Or get to our rating.
I did like the fight scene. There's not really a lot to like describe with it.
Yeah.
But it's basically a giant fist wall slamming fight between Vanek and John. And I don't know if we said this, but Kai, she gets free. Did we cover that?
We didn't. No.
So she's chained up to like this concrete block thing, and she basically just breaks it and gets free, and she's actually handcuffed as she comes and helps Chief, which is basically the big thing. But basically it's a really cool fist fight between Chief and Vanek, and Riz is there too, and Cortana's helping him, and it was a good scene. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that, and then Kai comes and helps, so it was cool. So Kai is on Master Chief's side.
Yeah. I'll go first. I know you went first last time.
The reviews, the best part of the episode.
I think this episode is easily better than last week. The pacing was good, like I said. I think the storytelling, how it moved along, actually felt like it was progressing instead of just what's going on next thing, aside from a few moments. Was really well done. Not enough action, as almost every episode has been, but the action was there. It was good. Again, no Covenant and kind of just generic fighting, but not bad. The unnecessary sex scene, especially when you're not going to take advantage of what a sex scene is for.
Yeah.
And two attractive people doing it. I think the fact that I said it feels more like Mass Effect than Halo to me, just I can't shake that. And I've been wanting a Mass Effect movie or show forever, but not in a Halo universe.
Not in Halo.
And I think, like I said, even though I think it's paced well and the storytelling needs to move along at a normal and to make sense for once, or not for once, but abnormal. I think there are some hang-ups and things that don't make sense and hopefully will get explained, but I'm starting to get to the point where the hope is what those kind of things are, not becoming hope and just like, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then be surprised when it does. But overall, I think it's I'd say a really good episode. I'd say 7 Haas out of 10.
We're really close.
Okay.
But I'll get, so this episode 1,000,000 times better than last week, because last week did not feel like Halo at all. So I'm glad that we got back to that. But even this one, it doesn't exactly feel like Halo, at least the Halo that we're all used to and love. But I think as far, like the pacing, like you said, is good. And I The sex scene was just really... It's something that I thought could happen, but didn't want to happen, if that makes sense. And I feel like with this show, they almost take what you don't... Like, you're like, oh, this could happen, but I really don't want it to. And they do the exact thing that you don't want to happen.
Yeah.
Because we can comment and be like, oh, maybe this will happen. And then it happens. But that's the thing that we don't want to happen. I thought them as rivals would have been so much better. Because, like, we get, you know, Arbiters in the games. Arbiter's kind of Chief's rival. Kind of. A little bit. But Arbiter's really cool. He's an elite. He's awesome. If you don't know who he is, I suggest playing Halo. But I think I liked how everything connected as far as all the characters, like how it, you know, streamlined towards the end, and all the plots came together. Miranda figuring out the translation was cool. Like, I was waiting for that to happen in past episodes. I like the fight scene, even though it's not enough, and it's not between Covenant and humans. It's between Spartans. So, I liked it, but I didn't like that, why they fought. Cortana kind of helping Chief, I like that. And it makes it feel more like their relationship in the games. And then towards the end, the Blessed One's just confusing me at this point. But I think she made her choice because she's going to touch that artifact, and she's probably signaling to the Covenant. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. And fingers crossed, next week we get a space battle because they probably are coming to Reach with spaceships. So, just saying, putting it out there. I hope we don't have to wait till season 2 to see a space battle. Because I think a good, like, ending would be a giant space fight and maybe the Covenant getting that second artifact. Kind of ending the series like that. But I got sidetracked. Overall, Haas, I gave it a 7.5.
Okay.
The first 0.5 of our rating system.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. And I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah, that's something, actually. I'm glad you said that. James B. commented and said, even though the show can be awkward and cringy at times, which is definitely true, he says, I'm enjoying it. And that's something that, like I said, I feel like I said it a handful of times, but I feel like still us talking about it, especially me, the negatives might sound like we're just making fun of the show and hating it. But that's just because I care about it so much and want it to be better. Like I said, even when it's been at its best, it's cool. But I think even at its best, the show has way more potential than we've seen it. Even at its
and I feel like when it is at its best, it's when the Covenant are fighting the humans.
Yeah, because
that's what Halo almost is. Like, sure, there's all these side plots and stuff, but like when we saw the Brute for the first time, like I was freaking out. I was like, this is just like the game. The first fight in the first the first 15-minute block in episode 1, that felt exactly like the video game. It was a fight between the Spartans and the Covenant.
Yeah, it's that. I actually care a lot about the characters and the stuff that isn't the enemies in Halo. But again, that's why like I said, even when the show's been at its best, I don't think it is even close to the potential what it could be, because even the character development they've had and the good stuff doesn't come close to what the games are. And that's why I think the lack of action is even more glaring, because the storytelling and the characters are not as good as the game, which is not a good sign.
Like if you're gonna go give us character building, knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
And then give us the action. But when you're doing it subpar, sometimes good, but subpar and occasionally awkward, it could be so much better.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying the show.
I'm glad you said that, because that's I kind of went on a tangent about exactly what I was saying, that I know we can sound negative, especially me, about it. But even in saying that, I've said this a few times, but it still holds true. I look forward to it every week, unlike a lot of shows that, with some few exceptions, even a lot of shows I like now, I watch, but I'm like, oh, God, I got to watch next week.
Yeah.
Even like The Walking Dead, a show that I absolutely loved. I'm like, oh yeah, another season, oh another spinoff. I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta watch it again. But I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens. Aside from a few points where they build it back up, but then they always just drop back off.
Drop it off. Yeah.
Here we go. So it's nice actually looking forward to the show, and even though I have a lot of issues with it, being excited to see it. So.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. Like the finale is this week. Like we got 2 days till the finale. I'm hyped. I'm pretty hyped for it.
Me too. I know it can't. Well, I mean, on two hands, it can't live up to our hope because our hope is so high, and also I guess it could definitely our expectations of what the show is. Aside from everything, it could blow it out of the water just because our expectations are so not bad, but I'd say mild.
Yeah.
That a really good episode I think would feel amazing at this point. Like a great episode,
like
I should say.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Or even a 9. I'll take a 9. I'll take a 9.5. Just give me the best episode you got for the finale.
Yeah, even though this episode moved on, I felt like the story progressed and made sense.
Yeah.
I don't know where that leaves us for the next episode because I don't know how it all connects. I don't know where this portal with Quan comes in, if Soren's really gone, if the Covenant's coming. I don't know.
I don't really either, but I'm assuming because she touched the artifact, she's going to contact the Covenant. That would be, at least that's what I would do if I was trapped with a bunch of the enemy in her case. Call the Covenant, get them there. I don't even know if we'll see Quan again. Now watch, what's going to happen is the first scene of the next episode is going to be Quan, because I definitely just jinxed it. But hopefully, we might not see Quan until next season. Because I feel like you have one episode left. So I think this next episode, at least this is my prediction, I think the Covenant are going to get that second artifact.
I'd be okay with that. I don't want this to happen, but I think the portal will definitely come into play next episode. I'd be okay. Even though I don't like that storyline, I feel like you have to have it make sense and not just be wasted at this point.
Yeah.
So I feel like even if they don't talk about it in the season finale, it does have to come back up next season.
Oh, it definitely has
wasted.
To. Yeah.
But I'd be surprised if they leave it hanging. But I'd be okay. I mean,
maybe.
That's what I'm saying. If they don't leave it hanging, I don't know how you all do all this, especially in the episodes. They don't keep getting shorter every time, but the first few are definitely the longest.
Yeah, they were longer.
Give us a bomb at the end, which I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, maybe this next episode will be an hour and a half, and we'll get a lot of blessed one, a lot of Master Chief in the suit.
That's more than I could ask for.
For the whole episode, though. Like, I'm not talking 5 minutes. Like, we need Master Chief suit the whole time fighting.
And that's what I'm saying, that with all of our complaints, there's no way the season finale could live up to our hope, not our expectations, but our hope. But I think where it could live up to our expectations is our expectations are so minor at this point that
it could blow us out of the water. Space battle. Keep saying it, but I want it.
Yeah,
really want it.
I feel you.
Oh, and grunts and jackals and elites all in the same place.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty nice.
No, for sure.
Some grunt dialogue. We haven't even gotten that. This is the finale. Like, make it feel like the video game.
Yeah.
If I don't feel like I'm able to pick up a controller and play while watching, then there's something wrong. Yeah. I want to feel like I'm in there. Kind of like how Master Chief was in there.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. But that was another great episode.
Yeah.
Of the current backloggers.
Thank you. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah.
I was gonna add one thing. I talked, I think, last week about how Halo Infinite will have DLC that connects to the show, and they said how stuff from the game will eventually be in the show, which I would hope so. But they announced the free DLC you can get right now in Halo Infinite. It's minor thing. It's not like a campaign or something, which that would be really cool if they do something like that. But it's cosmetics for the multiplayer, but it's all free. So if you have Infinite, I don't know They don't have any time limit on it, but I don't think it's going to be a forever thing. So I'd log on to Infinite if you have it and get your Halo TV show stuff while you can.
Yeah, I do have it. Xbox Game Pass.
There you go.
Not a sponsor, but if they want to,
hell yeah,
let us know. But if you have Xbox, get Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
you can play every Halo.
Trevor.
On there. Yeah, Trevor. Get Game Pass. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So comment, let us know what you think. Let us know your HA ratings.
Yeah, give us those HAs. I saw Danielle commented.
Yeah, we're getting a couple more.
Her HA ratings. Trevor's done it for every episode, so shout out to him. But let us know. Let us know your HAs. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Like, share, subscribe.
You're on it.
And I think we're out of here. See you later.